DoorDash has been accused of charging iPhone users more than Android users in a lawsuit. So maybe we are discriminating with our customers based on what kind of device they use. So maybe because Apple charges more for fees or things, but we're trying to get that back and we are charging inconsistent rates depending on what kind of phone we use. Okay. So we are suing DoorDash for the inconsistent fees based on the phone. Let's learn a little bit more. A class action lawsuit against DoorDash is accusing the food delivery service of charging iPhone users more than customers who order via Android. It seems that you could be paying more for that blue bubble in ways you didn't even realize. Yeah, so if you want that iPhone, maybe it comes with a price premium, all kinds of ways. Filed in the District Court of Maryland, the case accuses DoorDash of engaging in deceptive, misleading, and fraudulent practices by hiding unfair fees behind certain labels. So maybe the problem is that DoorDash is not disclosing the fee and in a way that makes it clear what they're doing and mislabeling things and misleading the consumer. So it may not be a problem necessarily that you're charging a different rate. Maybe the problem is that you're not making the different rate clear because you do have to be honest in your trade. And if you're misleading the consumer in your trade, that is probably a bad thing. Apparently, DoorDash orders include sometimes an expanded range fee, ostensibly when the restaurant is outside the normal delivery area. The lawsuit claims that charges in the range fee for a variety of situations that don't necessarily apply to that label. So we're using something called a range fee because of distance, but for reasons other than distance. Again, we are just putting the wrong label on the thing, which could be a problem because we're misleading the consumer about what's going on. This includes sending orders from restaurants further away than the customer in order to justify the expanded range fee. So maybe one of the things we're doing is we are promoting, we're encouraging the customer to use these further services to get the fee. And maybe we're not doing that in an appropriate way. So we are unduly amplifying further away restaurants so we get our delivery fee, as well as charging the fee to pay to the DashPass program to subsidize revenue loss under a subscription plan. So we are using one sort of revenue to pay another, again, maybe in a way that's not fair to the consumer and sort of the disclosure. Significantly, the class action lawsuit also accuses DoorDash of charging the range fee to iPhone users, but not Android users, even where they made the same order at the same time to the same location. So we are changing our range fee for the iPhone users by having a different range, perhaps. So that restaurant is further away if you are an iPhone user, basically. That's the way we're treating it. We are saying that they're further away and applying this fee more often for the iPhone users. The same order from the same place based on the same time. The only difference seems to be the phone. So something seems to be amiss here because you charge different fee to the same thing. Why? As tests apparently indicate, the DoorDash charges the expanded range fee on iPhone users more often than Android and charges iPhone users more for delivering based on the studies. These tactics are money grabs, undisclosed money grabs at that. So that's a bit of an issue. The lawsuit also alleges the app misleads customers into believing that normal delivery areas are determined by geography, when in fact they're drawn based on how much the restaurant pays DoorDash. So the range fee is not based on range, as one would indicate, but based on how much the restaurant pays DoorDash. So again, it gets further away because of the restaurant. Again, we are manipulating what we're calling the thing. The thing is we're not properly disclosing to the consumer. So if the issue is the restaurant is charging us more, then perhaps we could disclose that fee in a different way to the consumer. And maybe they would make the different choices based on that disclosure. So the problem is perhaps honesty in the trade. The suit contains other allegations as well, claiming that a DoorDash city fee misleads customers into believing the fee is paid to a local government when it's not. The suit claims that DoorDash charges an express fee of $3, but actually has no ability to hasten the order. So they say, we'll make your order faster, but actually doesn't have any ability to actually do that. So we're charging a fee for nothing. This isn't the first time DoorDash has come under scrutiny. The company was previously subject to a 2021 Chicago lawsuit, which claimed it used bait and switch tactics by initially displaying smaller fees and then piling on additional costs at the end of the order. So we misled the consumers into how much they would pay, so they made the order, and we did disclose how much you had to pay at the end, but by then we've already enticed you. So we're misleading you with the front end. So that's a problem. The suit also claimed DoorDash customers were misled about where the money was going, as a customer tip was used to subsidize DoorDash to these drivers. So not so much with an actual tip. DoorDash has paid $2.5 million in 2020 to settle a DC lawsuit, accusing it of misleading customers as where the tips actually went. DoorDash also paid a $2.5 million fine to DC based on a similar allegation relating to misleading customers as to where tips actually went. Thus, that brings us to the end of the coverage of this lawsuit that has been filed, saying that DoorDash is misleading consumers when it comes to the fees it charges. It charges different fees in a way that is not disclosed to the consumer. So the problem here is probably not the discrimination itself, because discriminating based on phone device is, of course, not protected by law, right? Whether you use Android or iPhone is not a protected class. So it's not necessarily that DoorDash can't charge the fee. The problem is that DoorDash isn't disclosing they're charging the fee in a way that's clear to the consumer, or misleading the consumer by putting it under a label which misleads the consumer as to what it is. And also perhaps charging fees on the back end that are not appropriately disclosed on the front end. So the issue, of course, is fairness in trade, and you're not allowed to mislead the consumer. You can charge kind of what you want, but you have to be fair in your business dealings, and DoorDash perhaps not doing that. So we will see how that progresses, and that for the moment brings us to end the discussion of this lawsuit.